Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Lily Grace Lifestyle Podcast. Today, I have someone that has known me since I came from China. And she is my mom's little sister. My Auntie Monica is what I called her since I was like super young. But I'm so excited to have her on today. So thanks for coming on.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I'm delighted to be chatting on your podcast.
Yeah, no, this is so great. So for the past for however long I can remember, you've had dogs. We've had dogs. Everyone's had dogs in our family, it seems. And you took that to the next level and became a dog trainer, a certified dog trainer. And you can talk about all your certifications and stuff. But before we get into that, what is one thing that defines your lifestyle?
I would probably say kindness above all else, and that's something that has taken years to develop and continues to develop as particularly in the dog training field. You kind of get to a place where you think I'm doing the most ethical things that I can do for my clients and their dogs, and then someone else comes along and opens your eyes to another area. So I think above everything, kindness to fellow man, fellow beast, if you will.
That's a good one. I like that a lot, especially during this time where everyone's kind of been cooped up and is now like re-entering the world. I feel like everyone has a little social anxiety of like, oh, I don't know how to interact with people, but like kindness like goes a long way. So
Yeah,
yeah. Awesome. So can you talk a little bit about your background and give us a little introduction to who you are?
sure. So I'm Monica Allaire McMahon. My current business is Barrington Barks and Behavior. I am a Karen Pryor Academy certified training partner, which was an intensive 6-month program, both in person and lots of work outside of the in-person sessions.
Mhm.
I'm the mom of 3 adult children now, and have one grandson who I adore.
Mhm.
Um, you've interviewed my middle child, Hannah, who has a thriving photography business. My oldest is raising my grandson, and
Mhm.
my youngest is in the Marines.
Yes.
So when my youngest, Adam, was about 2 years old, I just could not wait any longer to have animals in the house. I grew up with a mom who had pretty extreme fears of dogs, so we were never allowed to have any animals, and I totally get that. She had an incident with a dog when she was a kid.
Mhm.
So I started fostering, and that was about 27 years ago. I just went to the local shelter and I said, "Hey, I'm available. I have a secure home, and I'd like to foster." And over that time period, I fostered dogs, cats, puppies, kittens, iguanas, pretty much any animal they asked me to. I had a few litters here, both kittens and puppies. And
Mhm.
of course, all that time I spent with the animals, I really felt like I wanted to do the absolute best for them before they were adopted. So I started independent study with people like Torrid Rugas, who's a Norwegian dog trainer and behavior expert, Debbie Jacobs, who's focused on fearful dogs. Eventually, I took my first kind of structured class at All Dogs Gym in Manchester, and completed that. And then from there, I said, eventually some more time went by, and I said, okay. At the time, there was still a huge emphasis on changing a dog's behavior through use of kind of harsh techniques.
Mm.
And I said, I need to do something about that, because this is just wrong. I wouldn't use harsh techniques on my fellow man, and we should not be using them on animals who don't have a voice and can't tell us how wrong they are.
Yeah.
So I started my business. Should I keep going, Lily
No,
Grace?
yeah, keep
Or is
going.
that the answer to that question?
No, keep going. This is a great story. It's all about the podcast. So
Excellent. Um, yeah, and then I got my Karen Pryor certification. And now what's happening kind of in the training world, even though I have some roots from this, it's like a pendulum swing. For anyone who has kids, there's this pendulum, and we go between maybe very into letting our children explore the world at their own pace,
Mhm.
and really gain knowledge through experiences, to the pendulum swing of don't let your kid do anything, control them, control everything they do, and then you have somewhere in the middle. Same with dog training. Um, when I was a kid, we didn't have dogs, but my neighbors, you could let your dog out. They do dog things, and then they kind of socialize with who they wanted, and then they'd come home at night to eat their food. Obviously, we can't do that anymore. It's not safe to. But then we came kind of into the middle where, okay, we can't do that anymore. So we have to train them and help them adjust to our human world. And then somewhere along the line, with some popular TV shows, we got to
Hmm.
control everything that the dog does. You're the one in charge. That dog needs to respect you and do exactly as you say.
Hmm.
So we're swinging back now, and there's a pretty big movement in the training world to recognize that our dogs are sentient beings, and their emotions have to be first before anything else. Before we try to change their behavior, we have to examine their emotional state and why they do the things they do, and what can we do to meet those emotional and physical and mental needs before just stepping in and saying, I just
Mm.
don't want you to do that. I'm going to change it.
Yeah.
So,
Huh.
so
That
that,
is so interesting. Um, like when you said you were growing up with your neighbor's dogs and they just ran around the neighborhood and then came back, because as a kid we had Bud down the road who did that, and we thought it was the weirdest thing because it's like, hello, he might get hit by a car or something. But yeah, and I think you're right about the pendulum swing, because I feel like with even like fashion trends or any type of technological trends, it always swings the other way again. So
yes.
I can see that. And like, what do you want to say, what shows possibly change people's mind about controlling their dog?
I would say probably the worst influence that came out more recently was Caesar Milan.
Hmm.
Just his techniques, his harsh handling of the dogs, and what he basically was doing was suppressing a dog's behavior through fear and intimidation.
Hmm.
So same with you and I, Lily Grace. I could scare the bejesus out of you, and you might stop doing whatever it was that I didn't like, but you still have all of that inside you.
Yeah.
Plus, you could feel terrible about me.
Yeah.
So that really rocketed the dog training world in the wrong direction.
Huh.
Um,
Huh. That is so interesting. Yeah, because a lot of it is psychology, like just like humans, it's
oh God,
psychology.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So in a sense, you're like a dog psychologist.
No qualifications there, just self-study.
Yeah.
I certainly follow people like Jack Panksepp, who identified the 7 core emotional systems there are 7 systems. And he was also known as the rat tickler. He's a neurobiologist and a psychobiologist, and this was years ago that he was pushing for people to recognize that animals had emotion just like us.
Yeah.
And for some reason, we just swung away from that. So
Huh. That's so interesting. Yeah, because I feel like it's like common sense, like every living thing has emotions, but I guess we never really addressed that.
yeah, and it's hard because you bring an animal into your life, and you have expectations, which probably are societal expectations, that you will teach your dog to sit, lay down, come here, and they will never have an issue.
Yeah.
And really, those body position behaviors, other than the recall, do not have anything to do with how that animal feels.
True.
My dog can be terrified sitting, or she can be happy sitting. It's not the sitting,
Yeah.
that helps her feel good in the world.
Hmm. That's so true. Because you're right about society telling, like, oh, this is what dogs are supposed to do, or this is what your kid's supposed to do.
Mhm.
And talk to us about Poppy, Potato, Penelope.
Oh,
Penelope.
little Penelope Potato. So, like many people, even being as educated as I am at this point, I had a little laundry list in my head of what I wanted.
Hmm.
I wanted to adopt a dog who could be my demo dog, who I could take wherever I felt like taking. I wanted her to be my buddy, and we just go out and do whatever the heck basically I wanted. So I fell into that too. But when I brought her home at 9 weeks old, I immediately realized that she was not your typical puppy. She did not follow like a typical puppy would. She was terrified of the sounds of metal. She was terrified of the refrigerator door opening, a blind opening, the camera click, the coffee maker, the dishwasher, the car,
The floor.
the floor. It was
Mhm.
this huge ball of anxiety. And so and on top of that, she was an extreme resource guarder at 9 weeks old. Um, so it was a little heartbreaking at first because I set myself up with these expectations, and when this
Mm.
other living being didn't meet them, um, I was shocked and saddened.
Mhm.
Of course, we're in a different place now, because she is a marvelous little being all on her own. We've worked through a lot of her fears. She still has things that I adjust in the environment to make her as comfortable as possible. No, we don't go everywhere.
Mhm.
Um, but we take woods walks. We hang out with friends.
Yeah.
She is not terrified when the refrigerator door closes. I've modified my environment and my behavior too, um, to meet her where she is
Mhm.
instead of trying to just change her.
Mhm.
Um, I just kind of created an environment that would support her. And
Mhm.
because of that, she has progressed.
Mhm.
Um,
Definitely, I think so. How old is she again? Like 4,
she's going to be
3?
3 in July.
3. Okay, yeah. So she's not that old. I remember when you brought her, she was so cute and she was very friendly and she likes people and she likes to play with the other dogs, my dogs. But I think that what you said about changing your environment and your behaviors to meet hers, some
Mhm.
people that might scare them. So can
Mhm.
you kind of like walk us through that scenario? Because I'm sure a lot of people get rescue dogs who